Donald Trump is a liar. Here is why. False or misleading claims and why they matter. 1. Claim. The U.S. settled 8 wars under his administration. Fact. Independent fact checks show this is misleading or false. Multiple conflicts Trump referenced were not settled in any definitive way, and many continued with ongoing fighting or diplomatic stalemates. The Guardian. Critical rebuttal. Presenting unresolved conflicts as settled exaggerates U.S. influence and misrepresents global realities. Peace processes are complex and cannot be reduced to political talking points. 2. Claim. China has no wind farms. Fact. China is the world leader in wind power capacity, by a wide margin, making the statement objectively false. The Guardian. Why this matters. This isn't a trivial slip, it undermines credibility on energy issues. Wind and other renewables are central to global decarbonization and economic planning. Dismissing real investments with demonstrably false claims distorts public understanding. 3. Claim. The United States once owned Greenland and gave it back. Fact. Greenland was never U.S. sovereign territory that a president could give back. Historical accounts clearly show Greenland has been a Danish territory with autonomous self-rule. The U.S. military operated bases there in World War II, but there was no ownership transfer. Forbes. Critical response. This exaggeration undermines diplomatic norms and inflates personal ego over respect for international law. Leaders at an event like WEF are expected to engage on shared facts, not historical distortions. 4. Claim. The 2020 U.S. election was rigged. Fact. Courts, election officials from both parties, and multiple investigations have not found evidence that the 2020 election was rigged. Repeating this claim at Davos, a global economic forum, spreads a false narrative about democratic integrity. World Economic Forum. Why this is dangerous. Undermining trust in democratic processes, especially on a world stage, erodes confidence, both domestically and internationally. 5. Economy boasting divorced from context. Trump touted record stock markets and major job growth. The Advocacy Office release referenced strong U.S. economic numbers, but these figures were selective and presented without acknowledging offsetting issues such as rising deficits or labor participation concerns. Trump White House Archives. Critical view. Cherry-picking positive measures while ignoring broader economic challenges gives an incomplete and misleading picture. Other problematic statements. Greenland territorial ultimatum. Trump repeatedly framed Greenland as a territory the U.S. should acquire and hinted that nations who refused should be remembered. Even after clarifying a refusal to use military force, this rhetoric threatened diplomatic friction with NATO allies. The Journal.ie+1. Critical rebuttal. Suggesting coercive economic measures, tariffs linked to territorial negotiation is not consistent with established international law or alliance norms. NATO and historical distortions. In his speech, Trump made claims about NATO's origins and contributions that fact-checkers found exaggerated or incorrect. Forbes. Why it matters. Misrepresenting NATO's history and allied roles damages trust and weakens cooperation among major democracies. Broader global reaction. World leaders and commentators reacted strongly. European leaders, including Denmark and NATO officials, pushed back against Trump's territorial rhetoric and tariff threats. Reuters. Canada's Mark Carney explicitly called into question the rules-based global order Trump championed. Business Today. Coverage described parts of the speech as rambling or factually dubious, reflecting concern among diplomats and analysts. Daily Maverick. Conclusion. Challenging the lies. Donald Trump's speech at the World Economic Forum included multiple factual inaccuracies and misleading claims, especially on historical ownership of Greenland, renewable energy facts, outcomes of international conflict, legitimacy of U.S. elections. These distortions undermine trust, distort global policy debates, and weaken the credibility of the office he holds. World forums like Davos are meant for constructive engagement based on shared realities, not politicized narratives built on demonstrably false premises. Thanks for your time. Please subscribe and to expose bad leaders who sell false narration to destabilize the world.